And then when I stayed at my nan's house, I could hear children playing, but there was no one there.
Hi, I'm Ashleigh, and welcome to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast. This is a place for the crystal curious, arcane-minded, and everything in the in-between. In this podcast, we will jump down the rabbit hole into the metaphysical, esoteric, occult, and spiritual realms. Nothing is off limits. I'm a mom, wife, an orthopedic physician assistant by day, and a seeker of all things spooky and kooky by night. I've spent my entire career in the medical field, but have always felt like there is more out there, and this is where we will explore together. We will have conversations with crystal healers, rock hounds, artists, musicians, spiritual coaches, magic makers, and anything woo-woo that strikes our fancy. Let's take our spiritual journey to the next level. So grab a crystal, pour a cup of tea. It's time to feel the big crystal energy. Welcome back to the Big Crystal Energy Podcast. I'm Ashleigh, and I'm so excited today. We have a guest that I have been working for months. We've been trying to coordinate, and we're finally making it happen. The gorgeous, the amazing Claire Titmus of the Crystal Bar.
Hey!
And hi, Claire. It's so fun. Claire's coming to us from, where are you in the world?
I am in a little town called Potton in Bedfordshire, in England, in the United Kingdom.
Oh my gosh, isn't that cool? Wow, that's so amazing. What like bigger city do you live by?
We're about 60 miles out of, in fact, about 45 miles out of London. And we're about 10 miles out of Bedford, which is where Universal Studios is meant to be building their big park. So cross fingers. But I'd say we're the closest to London as in city. If we go to big concerts, it's London.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. Yes. So you guys, Big Crystal Energy is going international today. This is a big moment. I'm so excited. So Claire, I first discovered Claire because I had bought her book, The Crystal Year, and I absolutely love the book. I'm going to hold it up because it's one of my, because I'm going to be putting this on YouTube eventually, this video. The Crystal Year, and it was such a great book in my early crystal journey, and I still reference it all the time. And so the way that her and I ended up connecting is I had taken some pictures of my baby, Jasper, holding the book, and then she ended up seeing that, and then we just started chatting, and it kind of has developed from there. But it's just been such a fun journey, like getting to talk to you and chit chat with you and kind of create our little friendship over, across the ocean. And I'm just so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
I am honestly beyond excited. It's so nice to be able to connect to someone with a similar energy and just enjoy all the mystical, the crystals, and just get it. It's just so nice. Even though some of our messages are quite short, it's just nice when someone kind of says, I get it. It's nice. I love it. Yes. So, I feel like we've got a bit of a kindred kind of similar vibe going on. Even though I don't have children, I live vicariously through you and your beautiful children and your crazy life and your travel. And when you went to Salem, I was just so jealous. I'm kind of living the USA life through you.
I love it. And I live the UK life through you. So it goes both ways, because I've never been there. So it's definitely on my bucket list. Maybe in the next few years, we'll make it over that way.
Definitely. But I love it. It's tiny compared with what you're used to. It's tiny. You do the whole of the UK in like a week, but it's, it's something to be, unless obviously you're visiting lots of majestic places and spiritual places, there's a lot to discover. Definitely.
Yes, that's so cool. Yeah. I mean, I really love having you in my world because I talk about this all the time on my social media and different platforms that sometimes it can feel, I don't want to say lonely, but it's just something that a lot of people don't really understand in my world. And they're not really like connected in this way. And of course, I do have friends that are very spiritual and different things, but they don't necessarily live in close proximity to me. And so often I just feel like I'm just out here on my own little island doing my own little
Yes.
kooky, spooky thing. And people are like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, I am not the only person in the world that's into this stuff.
No, I completely get it, 100%. Even if family and friends visit, I don't like to kind of push it on people unless they ask, but sometimes I just feel like I'm brimming. And as you say, even on social media, sometimes I feel like I'm putting stuff out there and thinking, do people like this? Is this what they want to hear? But I completely get you 100%. So when you connect with somebody who just understands, it's just so reaffirming that what you believe, what is working for you is true. It's not just in your mind, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm just so glad you asked me to come onto this, honestly. I've been so looking forward to speaking about spiritual bits and whatnot.
Oh, yes. So I'm very interested in kind of like your early years. Like, how did you grow up, and like, what was your path to all of this?
Okay, so I've kind of always been a bit of an empath. Growing up, I sensed ghosts in my nan's house from quite a young age. I was very uncomfortable upstairs, and it was only when my mum mentioned to me that she'd seen a ghost in her old bedroom and other stuff, it kind of all started coming together. And then when I stayed at my nan's house, I could hear children playing, but there was no one there. And then from there, I was always the friend that people would come to, like an empath. I always seemed to have the answers for people and knew what to say and give them solutions to issues. And then one day when I was about 8, a lovely, I have to be careful because it's politically correct, but she was like a Romany lady, a gypsy lady, came to the door selling her wares, and she gifted me a rose quartz. And I just felt an instant connection to it, and it stayed on my shelf for donkey's years. But all through school, I swear to this day that a rose quartz brought me amazing friends. I had a great time. I mean, as you can see, I've got bright red hair. But at school, it was really red. Wasn't bullied. In fact, I was the person people would come to resolve bully issues and help them. So I really attribute this rose quartz. It really glowed up my life, and never had any issue. I sailed through. And then I kind of lost my way a little bit and got a little bit of anxiety because of being an empath, and I didn't understand this loading of energy. And I was unfortunately made redundant from the National Health Service. And I can always remember driving out that one day and saying, do you know what, I'm never going to work for anyone ever again. Ever. Never. I'm never having this done to me again. I'm in control of my future. And this kind of ping moment happened. Initially, I trained as a photographer, did that, but something felt missing. I missed that edge of helping somebody, and kind of fast forwarded through this, sorry.
I love it. Yeah.
And then one day I was searching, I don't know what I was searching for, but then this citrine crystal for sale came up on my Facebook, so I ordered it. And I was a little bit unsure how to use it, and this lady said to put it in my money corner, etc. And from that moment, my life changed. I got clarity. Financially, things started changing. Something in me lit up, so I became like an influencer for another crystal brand. And that was great. And then just before my 40th birthday, so I've kind of jumped forward, I said to my husband, I can do this. I could do my own business. Why am I creating wealth and abundance for someone else when I could be doing it for myself, and joy and happiness and creating my destiny? So he gave me £100 and said, well, try it, see what happens. And that's what turned into the crystal bar, kind of evolved and evolved and evolved. So I know I've just thrown so much stuff at you there.
That's great. I mean, obviously we're just having you squish your life down into a couple minutes, but well, I mean,
I've always been a bit of a magpie. Sorry, I can talk for England. Sorry.
I love it. Oh my gosh, yes.
I've been at every school trip I went on. I brought my dad pyrite, fool's gold, every time. He's still got them all to this day in his glass cabinet in their lounge. So I've always been attracted to energy and everything else. But I swear down, once I understood what an empath was, touch wood, my anxiety lifted, and I was I had agoraphobia. It was debilitating. Oh, wow. Yeah, it was horrendous. So, but the moment I learned about empathy and how to protect your energy and creating the bubble around you. And self-care, self-love, everything just changed. And this is why we've got this house as well. I manifested this house, but that's another story in a minute.
Your house looks so beautiful. And every time I see pictures of your house on Instagram or whatnot, I'm like, oh, it looks so beautiful and clean and organized. I dream for a house that is that clean and organized.
Well, this is my bedroom. Unfortunately, it was the best room with the best light. It's sunset here in the UK, so I kind of perching on the bed at the moment with one of my little dogs behind me.
Oh, yes. I have my dog at my feet here as well. She's always with me when I'm recording. She just loves to be part of it. She's my little spiritual beast here. She's getting old now, so
What's
I'm like,
name?
Her name's Lila. I've had her for almost 13 years, so she's been with me for a long time, and I can really tell within the past year that she started looking older, and she's just kind of more sleepy and stuff, but she's a good girl. Oh yes.
Bless her heart.
Yeah, she's doing great. It's just, dogs, they get old at some point. So, we just have to, she's going into her golden years. So.
Oh, bless her. So
she's so sweet. Yes. And, so did you start the Crystal Bar, your online web space, prior to writing the Crystal Year, or how did that all work out for you?
I did. I started the Crystal Bar November 2019, and then we all know what happened after that with the pandemic.
Yes.
So I shouldn't really say I was fortunate that happened. I don't mean it like that, but because the world changed, everybody was shopping online. A lot of people were looking for a bit of guidance and clarity about what was happening in the world with anxiety. So I kind of was thrown into it quite quickly, and from that I grew quite a decent following quite quickly, because I was doing messages of the day for guidance, where I meditate in the morning with my crystals, and I get these messages and I decipher them and send them out to you guys on social media. And from there I was actually, when was it? I'm going to say January, summer 2021, I was contacted by a publisher who'd seen my work and the little info I do on social media about crystals and everything else, and they just approached me to see if I would like to just put some knowledge out into the world. They'd got this idea and they thought I was a good fit, so I'm quite fortunate really that they found me. It was quite an amazing opportunity. I was scared, don't get me wrong. I didn't know, I don't know if you're the same, but when you're new to something, even now, I feel like I'm a bit of a fraud talking to you, because I was like, am I going to know what to say? I'm a bit like that.
Yes, I totally understand.
Yeah, so, but it all came together, and honestly, that book is everything to me. There was a lot more to it. Bit of a spoiler alert. I wanted chakras and stuff like that in there as well, but because they'd created a book that was similar, they decided to kind of sway away from that. And they did cut it down quite a lot. As you know, I can talk. I can also write.
Oh, yes, that's beautiful.
So there was a lot to say, but no, I'm so proud of that book, and I'm so pleased it's brought me people like yourself in my life, and so many people, even if they don't buy crystals or anything else, the fact that they've got that book in their lives, your lives, it's just wonderful to know that it supports you with like the seasons and everything else, the right crystals. It's a little bit of power and knowledge to empower yourself with the seasons. So yeah, I'm so proud of it.
I think I love it because, it does talk about the different crystals, but there's so much more to it. I mean, you have rituals and affirmations, and and the photography is beautiful, and the illustrator
oh, she's amazing. Yes.
Yeah, I forgot her name.
I'm gonna say Stephanie, but it's not.
Anastasia Stefarak.
Sorry. Yeah.
Anastasia Stefarak. Yeah, I love her art. I mean, it's so pretty, and it's just like what I love about the book, I'm kind of just flipping through it here, is that it's not confusing. Like, it's very practical. It's easy to reference. You can go to the month that you're in. You can pick out, maybe a little ritual that you want to do, an affirmation, maybe pick some crystals and set them up in your house or whatever, and kind of just get in line with it. And it's not so overwhelming. Like there's just so much stuff out there that you can read, but it feels like it's just very practical, and I can pick it up every month and say, hey, like, this is what I want to focus on right now. And that's what I love about it.
Oh, I'm so pleased to hear that, honestly. Well, actually, one of my favourite parts, all of that obviously, but one of my favourite parts is the section at the beginning of the season where you've got your astrology, so say Scorpio or Sagittarius, and it's got your lucky colour, your lucky numbers. I loved stuff like that growing up. Yes. So, and that's an even more closer, empowering bit of knowledge for yourself. So if you're booking a date or an interview or a meeting, you can try and align and wear the best colour and all this kind of jazz. So I like all of that. So yeah, I'm just so pleased though. Oh, it's just, I tell you what as well though, sorry, I can talk so much.
That's why we're doing an interview.
Get
it out there, girl.
I also like as well the animal of the month. It was actually something quite new to me when writing the books, like spirit guides. And I know that's a term that is obviously very important to certain groups within the United States. So I use that, term very carefully. But just to know that animal guides are there, it actually shocked me because I was dreaming about deers so much up to writing that book. So to be able to then research and pull that info into the book was just like, okay.
That's so interesting you say that. I was just reading, I was just looking, that was literally the part that I was looking at, the deer part. Just maybe
I love that graphic. It's one of my favorite graphics.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And I think because I was looking ahead at March, so it was in there, and I was just like, oh wow, I love that so much. It's just so beautiful. Yeah,
the lady who did the illustrations just took the words and just ran with them, and even the illustrations at the beginning of the month, she seems to have captured, like the poems I chose or wrote or whatever. She seems to have captured the essence of everything. It's just the book's just got this energy that I can't explain. Well, you've got it. I don't know. There's just something with it. Yeah.
I just love it too. Yeah, it's so lovely. And I know you said that you have a background in photography. Did you take some of the photos for the book, or was that done by the...
I did offer, but bless her heart, they had their own team ready. I'd have loved to, but yeah, I do. I actually was displayed in Somerset House in London. I won a Sony photography award for landscape.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, so that's kind of my hobby. I did take it into paid work, but I've left it as a hobby now because we need that kind of escapism, don't we, from what we do. And as much as I love spirituality, I need to tune out every now and again because it's quite noisy sometimes.
Of course. You have a very diverse background. I mean, that's so cool. And it all comes together, and that's the thing. Like I try to, even in my own journey, I'm like, okay, well, even though certain parts don't necessarily seem like they kind of fall into this other thing, it does. It all kind of eventually kind of comes full circle. And it's just interesting to see how that all ends up unfolding over time.
I think the fact that you're in healthcare and do what you do speaks volumes. And I think most empaths, spiritual people, are drawn to that kind of role because it's about helping people. There's this sudden urge and burning that you just want to make people feel better and help them in the worst times of their life. And I truly believe there's probably more people that don't realise what they are in that profession. Than realise. So yeah, it's very special to have, but gosh, it's tiring sometimes, isn't it?
Well, it sure is. And that's why I've really been kind of in this season of trying to find something else and build something else for my life, because it is very draining. And a lot of it isn't necessarily the work with the patients. It's just the system. Yes. The system is very draining. The politics, the administration, all the busy work is very draining. It's not, going and seeing the patients and having those interactions, that's completely fine. It's just all the other stuff that takes a toll. And so, my total dream would be that maybe I would only do that a couple days a week, and then I could spend more time working on podcasting, and then I'm working to, build a business out of this as well. So, I mean, that's kind of the path I'm on, but yeah, it all comes together. And I do feel that the more spiritual I have gotten, I have connected to people in my career in such a, like a more elevated way. And I think they can feel that energy from me when I walk into the room. Like I can always feel this like energy transfer right when I walk in the room, because I talk to myself in the morning before I go to work, and I carry my crystals with me, and I wear my jewelry, and I just bring that presence in with me, and it like changes things so much.
You've definitely got an aura about you that like when I watch your stories, you're just kind of entranced, if that makes sense. You've just got this vibe and this energy that
I love to hear that. Thank you.
That's honestly, I swear, sometimes it's like, oh, your stories are finished. It's just uplifting. Even if you're having a bit of a, you're quite honest in your stories. Even if you're having a bit of a tiring day, it's been a hard day. I don't know, there's just an energy still about you. So you must be wearing the right crystals.
I try, I always seem like, I'm like, okay, what do I feel? What energy do I need this morning? What am I going to stick in my pocket? What am I going to, and it's always fun. Like that's my fun little thing I can do every day, to just set me on the right path. And my coworkers, they all kind of tease me and different things, but I'm like, well, who's the happy person here? Like who's the one that shows up every day with energy and joy and excitement for the world? And it's me.
Exactly.
A lot of people go through life and they're grumpy and bitter and they hate their jobs. And I'm like, but I'm the one that's showing up joyful, happy, energized, because I'm working with these energies, and it does work.
Yes, it does. It does. And I believe in you, by the way. I'm so excited to see where you go beyond this, because you deserve it all.
Thank you. You're so sweet. I appreciate that. I'm like, I appreciate the cheerleaders.
Yes.
I really do. So you have another book that just came out in the past year too. And this book is so cool because it's called Affirmations and Crystals. And it's so lovely because you could go through it from, the beginning of the year to the end of the year. You could just randomly open to a page, and you have these beautiful, just little affirmations and a crystal that you chose to go with it.
Yes.
And it's just such a lovely way to connect to a stone every day. How did you end up coming up with the idea for this book?
Actually, this one was my idea. My publisher asked if I had any thoughts, and it kind of is an adoption of Messages of the Day on social media. I wanted to give the audience, the reader, the ability to consult the book, ask it a question, and get their own message, because so often I get messages saying, oh, Message of the Day was perfect for me today, or oh, this one didn't really feel correct for me. So we just knew that there was something there was an opening. We were going to make cards, but we thought a book was better, for the reason you said. You can keep a bookmark in it, follow it, and then the crystal came with that, because we wanted to then impart the correct energy to deal with whatever that message was, so you could take control and take it as far or as needed as you needed it to be, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So yeah, it was kind of quite an easy book to come up with in some respects. We felt there was a little bit of a gap in the market, almost a bit like the yes and no books. I don't know if you've seen those, where you ask it a question. It's just a very simple yes, no, maybe type thing. We just wanted to give a little bit more about why you might be feeling how you are. I just love it. I love it as well. I consult it daily. I wrote it. I still consult it daily. It actually as well was inspired by a book called Everyday Happiness. I don't know if you've heard of that. Mm-hmm. It's a lovely book. And again, I was using that, and that just gives you joyous things you could do for the day ahead. But no, this kind of was just, I always dreamt about this book. It felt like it needed to come out of my head and onto paper. So yeah.
Yes, it's so amazing. So I hope my listeners will check out your books, because
thank you.
Everybody should have them. Everybody that's a crystal lover should have them. I think they're just lovely. They're easy to refer to. And, most of the time, that's what actually works best for most people. Yes. Anything that's dense.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
In there. Now, I was going to say also, words are so important. They empower people. They literally do change your lives. How you talk to yourself, how you think about things, as you were just saying about your work and how you approach it. And, you know, a simple affirmation or message in that book, if you were to repeat it a few times a day, if you're having a really tough time or just need some confidence, literally can change your mindset. So that's another reason the book was created, really, because words are magic. You know, as they say, spelling has got the word spelling. So, it's a very special book in that respect. It has changed many lives.
I can imagine it has. When you, with your online business, what you sell a lot of products as well, right? Yes. You have jewelry, you have crystals, you have what all different things do you offer in your business?
Well, ultimately it is crystals, all different shapes and sizes, different levels of affordability. I wanted to put special emphasis on trying to get as many crystals in tumble form to make them accessible for everybody. They're a few pounds. I don't know what that is in dollars. I think it's about the same exchange rate right now. But so, you know, if somebody's looking for a bit of anxiety relief, they can grab some amethyst, fluorite, sodalite, just for a few pounds, and ultimately start working with that energy. But as well as that, I've got incense sticks, incense holders for the home. We've got ethically sourced sage that was actually made in the US with, you know, just keeping in mind all of that. What else have I got? Oh my gosh, I sell my books. Yes. I've got pin badges and little dishes, crystal dishes. Honestly, anything I love, I bring to it. I've got a huge love of mugs. In fact, I was talking to someone about it today. Yeah. Yes. So mugs feature quite heavily as well, mystical mugs and all that kind of stuff. I love that too. So, yeah.
Do you have a team that you work with, or are you doing a lot of this on your own?
It's just me.
Holy smokes. Really? Yeah. Wow, that's incredible.
You
must be so busy.
Yeah, because in the weeks I offer readings as well, but I've put that to say Tuesdays and Thursdays. Podcast is Wednesdays, and then around that I pack the orders. But I feel like, I do work more than full time, but I feel like it's probably because I don't have children. So my time is my own.
Yes. And, you know, if it's something you enjoy, then it's, you know, it's also nice too. Talk to me about your readings. What kind of readings do you do?
I actually do oracle card readings using a really lovely spirit guide. I can't think what the name of the pack is, sorry, but it's an animal type pack where I offer a 1-card reading or a 3-card reading. And I connect using the quartz and spirits and guides. I'm not a psychic. But I connect visually. Sometimes I see visions, but I tend to just read through the cards and numerology, the numbers of the cards. We look into that a bit as well. But people will just book in. They send me a photo. I channel and I sort of record it all a bit like this and send it to them. It's such a lovely thing to do. Yeah, it's so nice.
I love that.
I say I'm not psychic, you know, but sometimes I get some kind of messages that kind of hit right on the nail, and I just don't know.
Everybody's psychic. Yes. Everybody has those abilities. You're tapping into your intuition. You know, you're feeding off of the energy of that person, and then you're getting those downloads, and then you're offering your insight. I mean, so I think that I personally think that it's not psychic in the way that we think of like psychic mediums and people that have all this special knowing, but I do feel like it is a psychic type of ability. And I think a lot of us have it. It's just that we don't tap into our intuition as much as we should. And I feel that I've been working on that very hard myself over the past year. And it's been incredible. The more that I work on it, the more things that have come to fruition for me and the things that I see with the people around me. So I do believe that you're psychic. I do believe that you have the beautiful intuitive gifts. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing this work. No. So, you know, now do you connect with people all around the world? Are you mostly connecting with people locally to you, or how does that process work for you?
In what way, sorry? With readings or with
with
social
readings.
media? Around the world, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly, I would say. Gosh, I've had a lovely customer of mine from Italy, Australia, the US, England. Do you know what? I don't tend to ask where they're from. I kind of see it by the phone number, because I just like to focus on the photo and their energy and just get what the spirit's bringing through for them as such. I say spirit, but it could be the universe, anything really that just appears.
Yes.
It's really an amazing, do you know what? I didn't know I had this gift. I was told I did, so I thought I'd try it. And I did a couple of free sample sessions and they just blew my mind and others' minds. I'm not saying I'm the best because sometimes it's a little bit off, but it's just wonderful, as you say. And I've got this huge chunk of quartz that I have next to me that I just feel, even though you've got labradorite and other like amethyst that are great for psychic energy, my goodness, clear quartz of the crown chakra is just everything. So
I agree.
Yes, amazing.
That's what I always tell people, because people are like, well, where do I start or what do I do? I'm like, just get some clear quartz, because that's going to be the best thing for it's going to be the best thing for everything. It's not hard to acquire. You can even get larger pieces if you desire that, and it won't necessarily break your bank. So it's a great place to start.
Completely, couldn't agree more. It's the best advice for sure. So yeah, it's amazing.
So you also have a lovely podcast called The Crystal Bar, and I love your episodes because I feel like, for me, I love to listen to them when I go on a walk. They are like the perfect amount of time. I can pop in and listen to an episode. I take my walk and it's just like the perfect amount of time. And can you tell our listeners about your podcast and what inspired you to start that?
Yeah, again, it's quite funny, really. I still am often told, and it probably doesn't sound like it here because I'm overexcited and because I love chatting, but people say they like the sound of my voice, and do I do any podcasts or guided meditation? And at the time, I just didn't feel like I had the headspace for it. And then one day I was doing my video of the month that I don't know if you've ever seen that. I share a video talking about what's ahead moon-wise and astrology-wise.
Yes.
And my husband just said, you're already doing it, but you're just recording yourself. So just give it a go. And we were coming up to, I think it might have been a full moon or an equinox episode, so I thought I'd try, and yeah, it just grew from there, really. I don't know, sometimes I just feel like I'm going to burst with all this energy, and to me, I don't know about you with your podcast, but sometimes I just need to get it out.
Yes.
And it's just nice because it's like just vocabulary just all flowing out, and I just really enjoy just sharing and empowering and hopefully giving people some knowledge so that they can navigate the energies a little bit better. Some weeks it could just be about something peculiar as just finding your passion, but other weeks, if we've got a new moon or full moon, then I will guide the energy towards that topic, just so everybody feels a little bit enlightened in a non-scary, easy to understand way. So that's I love it.
Did you when you were growing up, did you grow up religious or spiritual, or has that developed over time?
Yeah, a little bit. My nan Menna, who was from Wales, was always into sort of spiritual, ghostly things. She used to have a magazine called Spirit and Destiny, which is no longer available, but I was obsessed with it. And my other nan often had seances or friends round to do tarot. My dad always used to say it scared him witless, and he used to go from the house because the people used to scare him.
Oh my goodness.
So I feel like it was deep down. But no, my mum and dad are quite black and white, so I can be a bit like that as well. You know, they do believe in ghosts. As I say, they've had their experiences. They're quite open to that. But in terms of like religion, we were christened. But that was more so that my mum could be a godparent and support my aunt, and if anything were to happen, it was kind of a bit sort of, I know it sounds awful really, it was less about God, but more about just being a supportive family. But as I grew, the universe spoke. I don't know if you were the same, but something just happened. And one day I prayed to the universe rather than a God, and my goodness, it came true. It's a bit personal, so I won't go into it, but everything happened and came true, and everything was resolved. And from that point onwards, I just found the crystals as well. It was like a light bulb went off, just a flash of light. So yeah,
wow, that's amazing.
I mean, right now I'm looking out to blue skies, fluffy grey clouds, and beautiful pink clouds where the sun's setting. I mean,
how beautiful.
it's just the universe provides.
It sure does.
Yeah.
It sure does. I mean, I grew up, my grandmothers were both very religious. One was Catholic, one was Presbyterian.
Yeah.
But I mean, as I grew up, I never really I never felt a connection to the like formal religion. I just never did. I always felt like the odd person in my family because I could just not connect with it. When I would go to church and I would step inside the church, I never felt like I just never felt like it was a place for me. And, you know, it's hard to explain that to your family because especially if they're very strong in their beliefs. And then now as all these years have gone by and now I'm going down this more spiritual path, you know, unfortunately there's a lot of, I don't know if the word stigma or misconceptions, there's a lot of misconceptions, you know, and myths and things about this world, and people have their ideas about things and they think certain things are potentially bad or scary. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of that is just because of Hollywood and, you know, they
witches,
and it's just crazy. And it's like, but that's not really what this is all supposed to be about. It's actually quite the opposite. It's actually very beautiful. So, you know, I'm like on my little crusade, not to convince other people of it, but just to prove that like you can still be into all of this mystical and, you know, spiritual things and still be just a regular person. You're not like brewing up hexes up in your bedroom. I mean, it's like, that's like silly, right? That's silly. Like I'm sure there are people that do that, but that's not me.
No. It's funny you should say that, actually. My nan, who used to have people around, actually went on to marry a reverend, and he was the one who christened us. And it's odd, though, because if I went to his church, their church, even our local church for funerals, I felt a connection, but not to the God. There's something. Perhaps it's the spirits of people there. I don't know. But I just felt, I don't know, what's the word? Just like that wow kind of this like wow energy. But in terms of perhaps like, I don't know, it's really difficult to explain, isn't it, when there's a connection but not to what the person's saying, if that makes sense. There's just something, a spirituality, but perhaps it was, as I say, just the energy of the room, the joy of the room and the singing. I don't know. But I mean, we still go to church every week, mostly because, not because of me, but because my husband likes to have that. It's important for him to have that practice, not because unity as well.
And because not because he necessarily feels so drawn to the Catholic religion, but that's just like what we grew up with. So that's what we know. And he likes to have that, you know, if it's an hour a week where he's just quiet and he's with his family and he's just giving his thanks and being grateful and showing gratitude to the universe or source or whatever it may be. And so we tend to incorporate all of this in our world. And I mean, there's no wrong way there's no right or wrong way.
I love it when you take your boys to graveyards to discover. I love it. You know, they're so open to everything. And that's what I like. You know, it's just so nice to see. Not in
it doesn't have to be scary.
No, exactly. You're teaching them the lighter side of everything, which is so nice. Yeah, it's great.
It's cool because there's so much to learn. I mean, there's so much energy and there's so much history, especially in graveyards. I mean, not only are a lot of the monuments and the gravestones so beautiful, but there's so much history there, and you can feel so much different energy there. And, you know, I grew up, my stepmom and her family were in the funeral home business. So so growing up, I always spent a lot of time cemeteries. And so I always liked them. I always thought they were just really cool. And so I don't have that feeling towards them where it's necessarily a sad place or a negative place. To me, it's just like, ooh, there's just so much cool stuff to see.
That's a reason you need to visit the UK then, because obviously we have some really old cemeteries, especially in London. Oh my gosh, you know, it's incredible. Charles Dickens, they're all there.
Oh, what a dream. What a dream, especially for me, who's like the biggest book nerd in the world too.
Yes.
So.
Oh my gosh, yes, you'd love it.
Oh, yes, I know. I was just telling my husband a couple weeks ago, I'm like, well, I really want to go to the UK and I really want to go here and I really want to go there. He's like, oh my gosh, Ashleigh, you are just out of control with all your trip planning. And I was like, okay.
You can't finish work yet because you've got to pay for all these adventures. Yeah.
Exactly. I still have to keep working and I have still just keep packing all the stuff into my free time. Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I have a few fun little questions here at the end to kind of wrap things up. But do you have, I know we talked about clear quartz, but do you have a favorite crystal that you just feel really drawn to, and why is that?
Okay, I do have two, but I'll keep it to the one. It is citrine. I'm a November baby. It is my birthstone. Didn't really like it until I connected, but the reason I love it is because it brings joy. It brings confidence, creativity, abundance. It's the merchant stone, so it's wonderful for business owners as well, to attracting success. Love it. I
love citrine.
Who doesn't want that?
No, of course. It's such a beautiful stone. I love it too. It was one of like the first kind of stones I ever connected during my early crystal journey. So I totally understand that. I have some of my favorites here with me, my little aquamarine and my celestite. And I don't know if you're that familiar with dioptase, but dioptase is just awesome, but it's very expensive.
To the blues. You're drawn to the blues.
I am very much drawn to the blues and the darker colors. Absolutely. That's my dark and moody side coming out. So, you know, we've talked about seances a little bit. If you could invite anyone to a seance, living or dead, who would it be?
Personally, my nan, because I'd like to find some stuff out about family history.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oddly, somebody like Lucille Ball, because I'd love to hear about all of the sort of the old Hollywood kind of era stories, and the whole style of it would just I don't know, I'd just be in my element just to hear her comedy, her personality, just having fun. Yeah. There's quite a few people really, even like oddly Queen Victoria. I just love to know what it was like.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah, so there's probably a party of people, but I'd say firstly, and I'm sorry it's probably boring, but my nan.
Yes, I love that. That's so cool. So is there something surprising or unexpected that you've come across during your crystal journey that people would be kind of interested to know about you?
Ooh.
Just maybe something unexpected or unusual about you as a person, maybe?
Oh my gosh. Something unusual or unexpected. You've put me on the spot.
Or maybe like something that you're into that most people wouldn't necessarily think about.
Okay. Well, I won't leave the house without my crystals. I'll probably become a little bit obsessed, in that I'm that much of a believer that they've helped and supported me through my empathy, my everything, that we went to Wembley Stadium to watch an NFL game, and I made my husband turn around 10 miles into the journey and come and get my crystals.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Off, yeah. As soon as they were in the car, I was like, whoa, let's go.
Oh my gosh. So how does your husband feel about all this?
Do you know what? He's cool with it. He's cool. Sometimes he's sort of like, oh God, going on about this. But no, he's cool. When the time's right, he likes it. He's actually got a nice little collection. When he's helping me unpack the deliveries, he might grab a few that's kind of talk to him. So he's more into it than I think he realises. But the fact that these crystals help me, so perhaps I'm a little bit more obsessed than I like people to realise about crystals, if I'm honest with you.
I love that. I am too.
Yeah, well, I tell people, no, don't worry if you've forgotten. It's not a problem at all. You carry that energy, just visualize it. I'll be like, I need my crystals.
Oh, look who's
Hello,
there,
Arnie.
your baby.
Yeah, that's Arnie. Hello.
Hi, Arnie.
Oh, lovely. Look over here.
How many dogs do you have?
We've got 2. Arnie is 10, this one.
10.
You're a good boy, aren't you? And then we've got Ivy, who's 7, but she's out there asleep, so.
Oh my gosh, I just love little fur babies. They're so sweet.
You're okay, aren't you? He's my little friend. He has to sleep on the bed by me. Yeah,
I understand. My dog's in the bed. I've got my dog in the bed, the 2 kids in the bed, the husband, everybody, and I'm just clinging to the sheet, like trying not to let the sheet get pulled off me, so I don't fall off the side of the bed at night. That's like,
But we wouldn't want it any other way. We're so lucky.
We wouldn't. I know, it's terrible. I'm like, yes, my children are still there with me. I'm like, it's like bedtime. What is the path of least resistance to get everybody calmed down?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Come in here.
Yeah.
It's wild and crazy times. So Claire, where can my listeners find you? Give me all your deets. Let me know. Do you have anything you're working on? Just give us all of your stuff.
Well, there is potentially a 3rd book. There's something in the pipeline, but with a different publisher. So watch this space there. It's just in the very, very early stages. I'm also considering writing my own workbooks. Things down, at the moment. It's just time, isn't it? You know, I think to myself, I'm going to do it, and then something happens. But no, you can find me. I'm the Crystal Bar across everything, but on Facebook it's at the Crystal Bar 7, the little tag. And then on Facebook and everywhere, Instagram and everywhere else, it's at the _, no. Yeah. At the _crystal _bar.
I'll link it in the show notes. I'm going to link her books, and I'm going to link her contact and everything in the show notes so that all my listeners can check out all of her beautiful stuff. She's a whiz at graphic design. She tells me she does it all herself. I'm like, oh, you must have a graphic designer doing. Oh, no, I do it all myself. Oh my gosh. Okay, girl. Yes.
Well, thank you for having me. Honestly, and I apologize. I'm a bit perimenopausal, hence I've got my.
I love it. That's a beautiful necklace. That's beautiful.
Thank you. This was supposed to help me with my communications. If you listen to my podcast, sometimes I'll stutter because my communication's a bit with the hormones. So I apologize.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But no, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This has been so fun. All right, guys. Thank you to the beautiful Claire coming all the way from the UK to hang out with us today. So anyway, have a beautiful day, everybody. We're going to send you big crystal energy. Bye. Thank you so much for jumping down the rabbit hole with me. If you connected with this episode in any way, I would love it if you could share it with a friend. Also, please tag me on social media. I'm at mystical.mama.ash or at Big Crystal Energy Podcast, mostly on Instagram. It helps so much getting my episodes out there and finding more magical, kooky, and spooky friends. Sending you all big crystal energy. Cheers!